Big win. And based on what we saw this morning, Brandon Aiyuk definitely approves. This is the latest post. So a few days ago, maybe 2 days ago, I predicted that he would post a video playing football next, actually running routes, doing stuff on the football field. Well, he's playing football, all right. He's playing the other kind of football, supporting the U.S. men's national team. Looks healthy. Now, when is the actual route running video going to come from Brandon Aiyuk? That there is from his Instagram story today. This coming up right here, this is from Nashville just a few minutes ago up on the rooftop. And this is the studio. Margot Lombardi herself got me a little easel for the YouTube 100,000 subscriber plaque. Reminder, we don't take gambling money on this channel, unlike the other ones. No gambling ads. Doesn't matter. Biggest channel in the 49ers universe. Most views by a lot. Just wanted to thank you all for your support on this beautiful Friday afternoon. That's what the behind the scenes in the studio looks like. You could see the YouTube 100,000 sub plaque right behind me. Anyway, Brandon Aiyuk posts a video of himself playing soccer today. So the prediction was, after he weighed in, posted a video of it a couple days ago at 208 pounds. Remember, 200 pounds is the listed weight for Brandon Aiyuk on the 49ers roster. So I guess he's trying to show that he's in decent shape. And I said, well, he's got to post something where he's actually on a football field, because I haven't seen anything of that sort in almost 2 years at this point. So I said, maybe the next video is going to be Brandon Aiyuk at the park running routes or doing something actually football related. He just picked the wrong kind of football, but Brandon Aiyuk has indeed posted something football related. He also was trying to cheer the U.S. on, saying that he wanted them to take that belt. Remember the belt metaphor that Brandon Aiyuk loves using? He wanted that belt to be taken to Australia. And yeah, U.S. did indeed do that. 2-0. I guess they say nil, not 2-0 in soccer, the final score. U.S. on track to play in Levi's in that round of 32. I want to see the U.S. against England in Levi's. That would be cool. But anyway, we need to see Aiyuk actually doing something football related. I saw the soccer video. It looks like he's decently healthy, but I don't know if he can run routes. I don't know if he wants to play NFL football again. Seems that he could have just reinstated or applied for reinstatement from the left squad list back in April, showed up to a 49ers OTA practice and forced their hand then. He didn't do that. I'm a person that thinks that actions speak louder than words. So I'm really waiting for Brandon Aiyuk's actions to back up his words. For example, I feel that him deleting his 2 Instagram posts blasting the 49ers, that was an action that actually spoke louder than the words that he spoke in those 2 videos, when he called the 49ers stupid and when he said that they wasted $50 million on him. Yeah, whatever, dude. Like, say whatever you want. Call him dumb, but all you had to do to get cut, if that's what you want, is apply for reinstatement and show up, because the 49ers would very likely cut you in that scenario. So, the actions really have not been congruent with the words for Brandon Aiyuk at this point. The Commanders are in need of receivers. Supposedly during minicamp, which happened this week out in Washington, Commanders receivers were dropping passes left and right. So if Aiyuk does want to play football moving forward, and if he's, rational enough to force the 49ers' hand, then it seems that he could get to Washington. I just don't know exactly where that all lies. Speaking of Australia, that was the opponent today. We've got a perfect segue show today. Brandon Aiyuk talking about soccer on his Instagram, playing soccer, the other football before he plays football or shows it on his Instagram. Game for the U.S. today, or the match for the U.S. today, was against Australia. That's where the 49ers season opener is, in Melbourne against the Rams. That right there, the Melbourne Cricket Ground, the largest stadium in the Southern Hemisphere. 49ers and Rams. And Australia had some ugly jerseys today. I thought they looked like the Rams. I know that it was green and not blue, but they looked like the Rams highlighter uniforms on a cheap version of Thursday Night Football. No wonder they couldn't score a goal against the U.S. Anyway, no offense to those of you watching in Australia. We'll see all of you in what? It's June 19th right now. Less than 3 months. Less than 3 months. I'll be in Brisbane. I'll be in Sydney. I'll be in Melbourne. I'll be all over the place. But this is what I'm most excited for. They're going to turn the pitch, I suppose you say here, into the American football field for 49ers and Rams in week 1. And then speaking of Nashville, I know that I posted the video from the bar here. That's where George Kittle is at. Tight end U is next week. The 49ers are going to be very well represented, not just by tight ends at tight end U. That's all that I can tell you for the time being. I don't know if I'm authorized to give any more information as to who is going to be at tight end U, but more players than you might expect. And that is going to be some fun off-season coverage here from Nashville. Hopefully we can get weather as nice as today, because if it's as humid as it has been in some previous tight end U's, then, well, that would be a little bit troublesome. So Aiyuk, continuing the post. What's the next one? Is he finally going to take a football field in 2 days? That's my question, and I'm ready to answer some of yours here on Friday afternoon. So good questions will be answered if I see them, and everyone can have at it. It's a democracy in the comment section, but it's also a dictatorship when it comes to how I answer them, because I get to pick which ones I answer. Yes, a lot of people saying I can't stand gambling. No gambling ads, no gambling money taken on this channel. We are not compromising the authenticity of this channel and the respect of this channel for gambling ads. Just had to mention that because we got the easel in for the 100,000 subscriber plaque. We also don't have fake subscribers on this channel, which is a big bonus. It seems to help with the view counts, doesn't it? Like, you know, we're on our streak now, like every single video getting over 30,000 in the off season. Last off season, it was crazy. We were 10, 15,000 of views. So we have doubled, tripled in view count over the course of just a year here when we're looking at the off season numbers. Can the 49ers wipe the slate completely clean once BA is somewhere else? Yeah, yes. I mean, once he's somewhere else, then what happens is all of the money that has already been paid to him that has not yet hit the salary cap, which is about 21.3 million or 21.5 million, that will hit the salary cap now, or hit the salary cap for the 2027 books. And then you're done with Brandon Aiyuk. So you pay the dead money all at once this year, once he's gone, and that's it. So it's as simple as that for the 49ers. The 49ers know that they are in the position of power with Brandon Aiyuk. And if he doesn't force an issue, they would love to keep that money stretched out into the future. So right now, it benefits them to have a smaller salary cap hit for Brandon Aiyuk this year and pay most of that $21 million in subsequent seasons. But if Brandon Aiyuk shows up off of reinstatement and says, I want to practice, and passes his physical and checks all the boxes and forces the 49ers' hand to put him on the practice field, well, the 49ers won't want to do that because he could get hurt at practice. He could create a lot of different headaches. And then, you know, if things go completely haywire, the 49ers could owe him money again. And they don't want to owe him any more money moving into the future. So Aiyuk is not getting paid right now, but if he changes the equation, if he takes the ball that has been passed into his court and passes it back, the 49ers will almost certainly have to take action to cut him loose. And that's what we've been saying now for months. The other day, I said this regarding Brandon Aiyuk, if I could find it. I didn't download it. Oh, maybe I did. Yeah, I did right here. This is what I said the other day. That Brandon Aiyuk has to actually post videos of himself running, cutting, catching the football. So that was what I thought would have to come next. Instead, he posted a video of himself playing soccer today. But maybe those videos are coming, because you know what would happen if Brandon Aiyuk actually posted a video of himself running routes, catching the football, cutting, doing all that good stuff. If Brandon Aiyuk actually posted that, then it would give him some outside leverage in terms of the physical process. Because presumably the 49ers will look for technicalities to fail Brandon Aiyuk's physical. You don't want him to take the field if it gets that far. If he applies for reinstatement, shows up at the facility, and then the 49ers don't cut him yet, and they say, no, we want you to take a physical first because you're not in line to get paid unless you pass your physical. If Brandon Aiyuk shows the world via video on social media that he looks fine on a football field, it would make it much, much harder for the 49ers to scuttle the physical, put it that way. Because physicals, those are judgment calls. We saw that with Maxx Crosby and the Baltimore Ravens, right? Like there's no cut and dry, okay, this guy passes the physical, this guy fails the physical, standard all across the board. It's about the level of risk any individual team, and by extension, obviously, its representative medical staff is willing to absorb with a certain player. And Aiyuk is coming off of a major knee injury where he tore multiple ligaments. So obviously the physical would heavily scrutinize his knee. And I think that one way that Brandon Aiyuk could advertise to the world, larger than the 49ers, to the public, that he's ready to play professional football again, would be to actually post videos of himself doing football, American football things, not just soccer things moving forward. I said post football on Instagram, and Aiyuk said, nah, I'm going to post the other football on Instagram. But we still got time. It's June 19th. We still have a lot of time. Didn't look like Brandon Aiyuk was in the South Bay based on his driveway there. I think that we've seen a lot of him in Georgia, right? We've seen the videos that he himself has posted at the Ice Box. I don't know if I think the Ice Box posted that video, but obviously Brandon Aiyuk was part of that one. And just looking at the video today, it looked like more of a southeast backdrop because it was very green. Didn't look like California. The South Bay would not be that green. Yeah, maybe he was in DC. Maybe he was at Jaden's house. All of this is just so funny. It's Commanders fans every day looking into every single Brandon Aiyuk post. Is this location legit? Is it not? Bottom line is, if this guy wanted to be a free agent already, he would have been a free agent already. Like, for whatever reason, he is dragging his feet with this whole process. Maybe it's to get attention. Maybe he's slow playing it so he wouldn't have to participate in an offseason program. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. I'm just going to sit here and relay the news as it comes and tell you about the strategy behind all of it. There is no such thing at Levi Stadium. Ryan is right. It's actually the San Francisco Bay Area Stadium. Let's make sure that we don't upset FIFA with the way that we refer to that venue in Santa Clara. It seems like it. It seems like a lot of this is an attention play. I can't tell you for certain, but I can read your comment and I could say, well, yeah, I mean, it does sound like that would check out. Talking about the Maxx Crosby trade, you say, am I the only one that thinks it's not worth trading for Crosby if the 49ers have to give up 2 future first-rounders, given how they drafted defensive linemen the last 2 seasons? I'm not sure if there is a team out there willing to trade 2 firsts for Maxx Crosby. The Ravens were, but then they weren't. Then they checked out his knee and they said, nah, we regret it. I don't know if the going rate is going to be those 2 first-rounders for Maxx Crosby. Now, maybe it gets more expensive in terms of draft capital if he's absolutely awesome on the field to open the 2026 season. But so far, the Raiders have not gotten the price that they wanted, right? What's really interesting to me is that the guy, Maxx Crosby, is scheduled to make $30 million in base salary this year, which means that every subsequent week of the regular season, he is going to get cheaper. Like, think it's 1.76 million is each of his paychecks. And you get paid by week in the NFL, by game. So by the time that the trade deadline rolls around, Crosby's salary cap bill for 2026 going to be like half the size that it is now. So he's going to become more and more tradable and more absorbable on a team's salary cap. And for the 49ers, it really matters because they are nursing this room because they have so many expenses they need to carry the room forward for, right? So a trade is just not likely until the regular season. And then I don't know if Crosby will even be on the table for a trade then. I don't know if the 49ers will sign somebody else before then. Jadeveon Clowney is still out there. Obviously, Joey Bosa might still play. He might retire. We don't know. There's so many different paths the 49ers can go before making a trade. Trade seems much more likely in season when the Crosby salary cap cost comes down because the Raiders pay by week and then the other weeks get cheaper. And also when the 49ers know exactly what they need, right? Right now, yeah, you could say the 49ers need another edge rusher, but we don't know where Nick Bosa is probably going to be back for week one, but Michael Williams, not exactly sure where he's at in his recovery. We don't know what he's going to look like on the field. We need to see Romello Height playing for the 49ers. I'd love to see Cam Sample, the free agent pickup out of Cincinnati, suit up for San Francisco. I mean, there's so many things that we need to see and Raheem Morris's defense. So many things that we need to evaluate, and the 49ers need to evaluate, and the Raiders need to evaluate on their end. And that's why these trades typically happen much, much further along. The money plus the analysis of the situation from both sides has to more fully crystallize. So we're sitting here on June 19th waiting for that to happen. The 49ers stadium is always natural grass. That's one nice thing about the San Francisco Bay Area Stadium or Levi's. Now, FIFA came in and put in their own grass, but credit to the 49ers groundskeepers and the whole stadium field crew. I think it's the best natural grass in the entire NFL. Now, places like Seattle and LA, SoFi Stadium, for the NFL season, those are field turf or whatever the hell they call that artificial surface. They have taken that out, FIFA has, and has put in natural grass for the World Cup. What's insane to me is that the NFL is going to return to these venues in the fall after the World Cup, and they're going to tear out the natural grass, and they're going to put in artificial turf. So this summer has proven that they can have natural grass in these stadiums. And, you know, I don't care if it's summer now in Seattle and it's going to be darker in the winter. They have things called grow lights, and I mean, it's possible to maintain natural grass. It just costs a lot more money. But these teams are not willing to protect their own players and the visiting players, NFL players, whenever they opt for artificial turf over natural grass. It's been well documented that artificial turf sees a higher injury rate than natural grass. So credit to the 49ers at Levi's for making that extra investment in natural grass. I really, really wish that stadiums like SoFi, like Seattle, I know it's tougher up in Seattle, I get it, but MetLife in New York, I really, really wish that those stadiums would find a way to keep the natural grass that's already installed for the World Cup. I really do. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it. We're proud of the 100,000 subscribers here. We're proud of the no gambling ads. We're proud of the 100,000 subscribers. It's been a great year, and we're looking forward to another big season. We've got a lot in store for you guys over the course of the next several months. All right, let's get some good questions in. A nice little Friday happy hour. It's later here than where you. It's crazy that game was at noon Pacific time. As you saw, I'm in Nashville currently right now during the off season. Started at 2 p.m. here, 3 p.m. over in the Eastern time zone. So there's still a lot of Friday left. I'm sure that there's still some work hours left for many of you on the West Coast, but a good time to waste those work hours and talk. Post your questions. We have all these questions about Brandon Aiyuk. If Brandon Aiyuk shows up to training camp, will he be cut? In all likelihood, I would say yes. Now, the 49ers can really, really play hardball with him and make him take the physical. And then they could say, well, if you don't pass the physical, then you're not in line to be paid because he already left the team. And, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that can happen if he shows up. I don't know how long the 49ers would drag this out. As of right now, from the outside, it appears, and this is from the outside, so don't, take this as gospel, but it appears that if Aiyuk goes through the motions of getting reinstated and saying, I'm going to come to the facility, it seems that that's when the 49ers might cut him loose, but I don't know. And again, they're contractually protected in many ways. These are big money deals where the team, you got to be in shape. You got to pass physicals to be in line to make money. You have to hit weight. You have to do all that stuff. And Aiyuk had not helped his case with the posts that he made about the 49ers last week. Because, I mean, just on a human level, if you're looking for the other side to give you what you want and cooperate with them, like flaming them on the internet is not going to increase your chances. But there could be a further monetary dispute here. The 49ers have paid Aiyuk $48.1 million ever since he signed the contract in 2024. He played only 7 games and then he skipped town. He left the team in the middle of last season when they really needed him. The 49ers might feel entitled to get some of that money back, to recoup some of the signing bonus. And to do that, you would have to file a grievance. And that grievance would be heard by an arbitrator. And stuff, antagonistic stuff like Brandon Aiyuk posting that the 49ers were stupid for paying him $50 million. That's the kind of stuff that the 49ers would definitely use in a grievance to try to get some money back in this situation. So, I mean, you could see several reasons why it was a good idea for Brandon Aiyuk to take those posts down. I know they're already out there, but at least it shows that maybe, just maybe, and I made a video about this a couple days ago, he's finally listening to his agent, to Ryan Williams, or to some other advice. It was not a good idea to put those videos up. And it definitely is a better idea to take him down. Now, I know he already said it. I know it might not prevent the 49ers from using it if there is a grievance moving forward. But if you're Aiyuk, you would like to make this as cordial as possible because the 49ers remain in the driver's seat. What determines if Evans plays more than one season? Well, if he plays well, then the 49ers will happily have him back for season 2 and then season 3. He's on a 3-year contract. So Mike Evans, in many ways, determines how long he plays in this league. I mean, he's been at a Hall of Fame level for a long, long time. If he's healthy, if he stays healthy and he puts up big numbers, I mean, unless he wants to retire for some reason, unless the 49ers win a Super Bowl and he says that I don't want to play anymore, then I think he'll be back for age 34. And then he might be back for age 35. The 49ers have insulated themselves for only one Mike Evans season, I believe, because I think Dejon Stribling can play the X sooner rather than later. I think Dejon's got the tools to play that X wide receiver position. But would they love high-level football from Mike Evans for more than 1 year, for 2 or 3? Absolutely. And some of these guys, like Mike, has done something that only Jerry Rice had done in the past, and that is 11 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons. So this is a surefire Hall of Famer. Anybody who says that they're not sure about Mike Evans and his Hall of Fame case, they don't know what they're talking about. He is a surefire Hall of Famer. This is a lock, right? This is a lock. If you've done something in your career that impressive that only Jerry Rice had done before you, you should get voted in before your career even ends. I know it's not possible. I know it's not according to the rules, but Mike Evans, Canton, get the mustard jacket ready. He could start writing his speech right now. Those types of players tend to find ways to get stuff done at ages that lesser players bow out. So, I mean, Jerry Rice played until he was, 41 or 42 years old? Mike Evans, I could see, especially since he doesn't base his game on pure speed, I could easily see him being productive well into his mid-30s. He's going to be 33 this year, and his contract with the 49ers lasts until 35. The guy is about body positioning, body control, technical know-how, deception, and skill. Like big-time hand skill and just knowledge of what's going on around him so he understands the geometry of the field. That type of stuff stays with you longer. It's the burst, it's the 40, it's the explosion that's tougher to keep as somebody who is going across age 33, past 35. But that never has really been Mike Evans' game. His game has been a nuanced game, and he's dominated people using nuance and size. And I think that the 49ers fully believe that if he can hold up physically, which he had for the vast majority of his career until last year, of course, if he can hold up physically, he can continue to deliver big for San Francisco. David asks, what's going on? I'm late to the video. Well, you might have been watching the soccer game, and this was Brandon Aiyuk a little bit earlier this morning. It's the latest post from Brandon Aiyuk. And, I was just saying, I predicted 2 days ago that the next video would be him playing football, and I was partially right. He just is playing the wrong kind of football. Team USA makes Brandon Aiyuk happy. He wanted them to win 2-0 over Australia. 49ers first 2026 regular season game right here. It's going to be over 100,000 people at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, the largest stadium in the Southern Hemisphere. So we're just tying everything together. It's a segue show. You want Brock to wear his red cleats more often? All right, I'll try to tell him when I next see him. Might be soon. We'll see. He's out here in the Nashville area, of course, over the course of the offseason. Will CMC have a regression after the amount of carries from last season? Well, there are opposing forces here. He had 413 touches, which was a career high. So you worry about that because the last time that he had about, I think it was 360 or 370, it was 2023. The next season was the bilateral Achilles tendonitis. So there's obviously a level of natural concern that you have whenever a player has a heavy workload. How are they going to be the following season? That being said, if he is able to stay fresh and stay healthy this year, he should have a lot more running room. The 49ers had a very, very poor setup last year in terms of speed on the perimeter. So Christian McCaffrey was running into stacked boxes all season long. I don't think that San Francisco had a good play action game. And I just don't think that the run and the pass interacted as well as they had in years prior because they didn't have the receiver blocking on the perimeter. They didn't deliver the explosive runs they needed to. And it wasn't Christian McCaffrey's fault that they just didn't have the room to deliver those runs, whether it be McCaffrey or Brian Robinson. I think it wasn't until the Atlanta game, like late, like halfway through the year almost, where the 49ers notched their first run of at least 20 yards. So he should have a lot better setup this year since the 49ers have Mike Evans, since they have these receivers, since they're better equipped in the pass game to open things up for the run game. That said, he's got to stay healthy and be as fresh as possible coming off of those 413 touches. What would happen if BA shows up and fails his physical? Would he be able to dispute that if he believes he's healthy? Yes. And that's why I think it'd be smart if this is the path that Brandon Aiyuk is planning to take to post videos of himself on a football field working out, because all that could be used in a grievance. All that could be used as evidence, right? You want to get public opinion on your side too. I think Brandon Aiyuk would do much more in getting some sense of public opinion on his side by working his ass off on a football field and posting about it instead of just trashing the 49ers and not posting anything football related, only soccer related, the other football. So Yeah, I mean, that could come down to dispute. I don't know how willing the 49ers are to dig their heels in here, but we'll see if it does come to that. All right. Do I think that the 49ers are going to make Nick Bosa the highest paid player at his position next season? I'll tell you what, I think that this season's going to determine that. If Nick goes out there and puts up 15 sacks and is top 5 in pass rush win rate, he came off of the ACL in 2020 and had an awesome 2021. And then he still was a year away from a contract year, but then it was Defensive Player of the Year in 2022. So, yeah, they made him the highest paid non quarterback entering 2023. If he puts up an elite season coming off this ACL, say that he's better than Myles Garrett this year. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying, say that if that happens, what do they do? I think that he's in line because there's no more guaranteed money on his contract beyond this season. I think he'd be in line for a massive deal. Now, of course, he's older. Of course, he's torn his ACL 3 times now. I think that all those things would have to be factored in, but he'd be right there near the top of the market in terms of another contract if he was able to show that he's the bionic man and deliver a massive 2026 season. Definitely, there is incentive in Nick Bosa's camp to have a massive year because the guarantees do run out after this season. Do I think that Mike Evans can be a candidate for comeback player of the year? Well, Bosa, 49ers have a cut. Well, when you have a team that was really injured last year, and Mike Evans wasn't even on the 49ers and he was really injured last year, you have a lot of comeback player of the year candidates. Bosa, obvious one. Fred Warner, obvious one. Mike Evans, yes. I mean, he's going to be playing with Brock Purdy. He chose to play with Brock Purdy. He believes Brock is one of the best QBs in the game. He's going to have Kyle Shanahan calling the plays. These guys who suffered season-ending injuries for the 49ers last year are all going to be back. All of them comeback player of the year candidates. Mike has a good point on the Maxx Crosby front. I want to see Maxx Crosby play healthy before trading for him, Mike says in our text message. I think that's a fair point. The Titans re-signed Jeffrey Simmons today. 3 years, $105.8 million. That makes him the NFL's highest paid defensive tackle. So 105.8 divided by 3, that's $35.2 million per year. The 49ers are getting Osa Odighizuwa under $20 million per year. They didn't have to pay a signing bonus. Dallas paid his. That's a significant discount for Osa Odighizuwa. I know they had to send a 3rd-round pick to Dallas, but there's a reason that trade is getting rave reviews over the course of this offseason because the 49ers, they were able to take advantage of roster building inefficiency from the Cowboys. The Cowboys traded for 2 other defensive tackles. First, Kenny Clark as part of the Parsons trade from Green Bay, and then Quinnen Williams from the Jets. So it kind of made Osa Odighizuwa the odd man out. They didn't have enough in their salary cap to pay 3 defensive tackles, even though they just paid Odighizuwa last year. So they had to trade him, and the 49ers were sitting there as very willing beneficiaries, and that's why, on paper, that swap does look so good for San Francisco. So less than 20 per year the 49ers owe on Osa. $35.2 million per year is the new cost for Jeffrey Simmons and the Tennessee Titans. That is Robert Saleh, the head coach of the Titans here in Nashville. Defensive tackles over the cap, average per year. I'm looking at the previous high. That's a big new high watermark. Chris Jones had been at the top before, $31.75 million average per year. So that's $35.2 million for Jeffrey Simmons. Jones at 31.75, Dexter Lawrence at 28 million, Jordan Davis at 26 million, and Milton Williams at 26. That rounds out the top 5. And meanwhile, Osa Odighizuwa is at just about 20 million for the 49ers. So San Francisco definitely saved some room there with that one, willing to trade with Dallas, that 3rd-round pick. Seems that everybody's very happy with that Osa Odighizuwa trade. All right, good questions. Let's go. I got a few more minutes here. Do I believe the 49ers can find an upgrade at the center position? I don't think they could find one right now. I don't think that there's centers walking around who would know their system better than Jake Brendel, who would be able to plug in and upgrade them week one. I do think the 49ers are realistic in that, A, they realize that Brendel is better than casual fans think he is. B, I also think that they don't believe he's an all-world player, no matter what Chris Furster has said. They would have extended him this offseason if he were a top-level center. They only restructured him. They didn't extend him. They didn't give him anything that he didn't already have coming his way in the contract. He's entering his final season under contract. They drafted Carver Willis out of Washington with the idea that he might be their center of the future. So they're going to be training a potential center of the future in what currently is Jake Brendel's final season under contract. Those are all significant data points. And I think ultimately maybe the 49ers do hit the upgrade button on center, but they're going to have to work toward it. They're going to have to develop that, and it's easier said than done. It's not just like, oh, this guy, I don't like him, let's bring in another player. A position as complex as center that it handles so many cerebral responsibilities. You don't just go and find a guy off the street, especially, Jake Brendel can move well. He's a good athletic center in that way. It's really hard to just plug and play and be okay at that position. Go back and watch the 2020 49ers, who suffered a ton of injuries at center, and you'll see exactly what I mean. I mean, that offense just got blown up because they couldn't take care of the middle of the line. Will the Hulk get a chance to play this year? Training camp is going to determine that. They've added a lot at defensive tackle, right? They've added Osa Odighizuwa. Last year, they already added Alfred Collins and CJ West. This year, they drafted Grayson Halton. You think about 4 defensive tackles in the rotation. So Sebastian Valdez, also Evan Anderson is competing there. They got a couple of undrafted free agents in Bryson Eason and James Thompson. So they have a lot of defensive tackles, and the Hulk, Sebastian Valdez, is going to have to beat those guys out in order to see some playing time. I think he's got a chance. I think he impressed them last year. They gave him a couple of those pay bumps last year, which I think showed you that they like the guy, but the competition at defensive tackle is much more robust this year than it was last year, and that's a good thing for the 49ers. Hell yeah, happy first Father's Day coming up. I can't wait. It's coming up here in 2 days on Sunday. Told you guys the baby has 99th percentile height, 25 inches at 2 months. All right, I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We started with Brandon Aiyuk, I guess. Oh, that's the center position. I didn't want to show you guys that, though. I want to show you guys this. We started with Brandon Aiyuk. We'll finish with Brandon Aiyuk. Now, can I see some actual football from Brandon Aiyuk? That's what the next post needs to be. We'll talk to you guys soon.